First of all, I want to say a special thank you to Jason, Adam, and members of the Lisa's gang. And Ryan, helping me fund my idea of using money. That's almost everyone here knows. Life in all of our lives. Time, money, so fun. And most importantly, truly a friend to everyone. It is so appropriate that this stretch will help make it we are honored to have the following students present this from the Akron Central School District. They would like to share some of their thoughts. First, I'm going to call you Justice Moore, Leah Smith, Brooke Milholland, Tyler Doherty, Matt Johnson, Melissa Jacob, and Jason Nicholson.
Thank you for inviting us to your meeting here. Prospect 30058, led by Mrs. Kate Blake. My name is Leah Smith. We are here joining the buddy bench honor Lisa. My name is Tyler Doherty. We would like to thank Lisa's Spirit for being here tonight. We would also like to share a few teaching moments. My name is Madison Gates. Elisa was a very special member of the election. When Elisa was in first grade, she had a heart attack. Number two, Elisa was a friend of everyone. She was full of happiness that made everybody smile. My name is Ronald. The purpose of the bench is to know how to resolution the and that's story. The reason we chose the bike is because it represents what always believes in kindness and friendship.
My name is Alyssa Draper, and in addition to the bench, we are donating the bike.
My name is Madeline Joseph, and our focus of the buddy bench will foster partnership on and off the playground. My name is Amos, and Elisa will always in our hearts, and thank you for something I didn't.
You can't see because of the bench, and I know you'd rather look at that, but I just have to fire. This is a generous and heartfelt contribution to our district, more than just a gift. Contribution to our community. And it is not only going to be a lasting memory of Elise for all of you, but also for all of the adults in our community, for her family. And I think That memory will last for years and years. It will be enduring, just as your memories are for weeks. The term buddy bench, I think, couldn't have been a more appropriate name for this. In the spirit of where children come together to find a friend, who at least was a friend, to play, laugh, smile, or also work. So I think every time you see someone sitting there, using it, enjoying it, in our hearts and in our minds, we'll do so. Again, thank you on behalf of the entire trust.
Before we move on, just thanks. We are going to remove the bench, so nothing happens. Give us a minute.
All right, so the big strong guys that carried it up here, come on back. Yeah, pictures of it.
I was gonna say, can we get the picture with the girls?
Good call.
All right.
Girls are also. All right.
We have presentations this evening from each of the building administrators on start of the school year update.
So many of you may not know, but this week is Board Appreciation Week, and we have a few gifts for you today. We really want to say thank you. You guys have really supported us, our students, and our community, and your job is very difficult, especially the last year and a half, and you really come together and supported us and are always there for our kids and our community. So we have a couple of gifts for you today. The first is the Sandville has a string quartet over there. They're going to play one tune for you guys. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the number.
Thank you for everything you do to support us. I have a wonderful group of 8th grade string musicians here to perform Hello Ricky.
So at the high school, we also had our student council go around to all the students in the cafeteria and both lunches and had a card and all our students, most of our students in high school. So I'm just present that to Mr. Pat.
Thank you both very much, and thank you to all the students in the high school. Very much appreciate that.
So building update at the high school, obviously you're well aware we have homecoming and today we had our powder puff game. So class of 22 won our powder puff event, which was outside, which was actually really, really fun and did a great job. So homecoming, everything is going to be outside. Tomorrow is a normal day. Friday we have a happy day at the high school, so we have our assembly that's going to be outside. It's going to be cold, but we're still going to go outside and do our assembly. We have our, obviously tonight we're going to do Spile and I'm going to leave. Right after our presentation, our bonfires out behind the tennis courts. So back to normalcy. We have a football game Friday night. We also have, thanks to student council, our homecoming hoedown on Saturday night from 7 to 9. So that's something that's new. We've never really had any function as a part of homecoming. So that's something they brought to the table and they need to work. So credit them to really coming up with the idea of doing that goal. So that's going to be 7 to 9. Just fun and games, yard games. We have food truck, music, so just to get together, socialize, and be with one another. So thank you guys. This file is going to talk about our academic learning side.
So one support that's new to the high school this year is the Academic Learning Center. We hired Mrs. Danielle Bernstein as an Academic Learning Center teacher. With the goals of the following goals in mind, we really wanted to communicate and collaborate with class of teachers and support staff. We wanted our ALC to participate in monthly department meetings. We wanted our ALC teachers and staff to work with individual departments on cross-curricular skills, both vertical and horizontal alignment. We wanted them to collaborate and meet regularly with student support team and learning center coordinator to discuss student academic histories and review appropriate AAS services. We wanted to monitor student progress and frequently, at minimum quarterly, communicate with parents and guardians. We want to prepare students for classroom exams and or regents exams when appropriate and assist in the implementation of APEX, our online learning for select students. We currently have 37 students receiving support. That includes small group or one-on-one intervention.
It's just the screen. Could you please come down?
Study sessions and major project support, Regents review,
you please-
preparation, literacy,
I don't
and
know.
writing
Can you come
support.
down and help me find
In addition,
it?
they work on organizational strategies.
I don't know where
executive
that
coaching
was.
skills, and it also provides a testing location. So thank you to the board for approving that support at the high school this year.
One of the things that we talked about in the summer was the social emotional learning.
It might be on unmute.
Just to give you some numbers, Ms. Bowen, who's our social worker, she sees around 50 to 60 kids per week on a regular basis.
I'm trying to find it.
Emotional needs. That's double than what we did last year. We actually have Mr. Wharton here, he's a half-time social emotional coordinator, has taken on some of her role in using some time that he has during the day to check and connect with kids, just because there's so many kids in need of that support that we did talk about, but quite honestly, we are also
Would it be on here? Live streamed events.
recognizing that, and also get some staff to help with
Board of Education.
Last but not least, well, of course, our athletic program is
No, those are
full
YouTube
gear.
videos.
Obviously,
I've already recorded.
sectionals are on their way. We have 2 sectional.
Do you want to do it?
Nagro Leagues champions, our 2 hockey team, 12-0. So, big thing hopefully in sectionals and states.
I don't know.
Also, our golf team won the
Oh,
NL championship again. So all of the kids, they're starting teams actually go and play in sectionals in the spring. So that's an awesome feat that they have. And we have our other teams are starting sectionals this week and next week. So stay tuned for a lot of hopefully some good things happening in our sports team as well. That is it for the high school. Any questions? Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Congratulations.
Board of Education, we have 4 members of our middle school student council. We have Christopher Tunashki, Kara Swader, Morgan Toporowski, and Alex Parisi, who would like to thank you. They actually did a great job creating a video for you, which we will play for you now. Mr. Schreiber?
Thank you, Board of Education.
Board of Education.
School district.
Thank you.
Would anybody like to say a word?
Thank you very much.
Again, we would like to thank the Board of Education for everything we do. We know that it is a big sacrifice, and personally, and your families, and we truly appreciate your support. From the middle school, everything is going well. Opening went well. 2 things I want to talk about tonight. One is a character education program we're starting at the middle school. We found that when students came back to school this year, some of us had trouble following the code of conduct in certain ways, more so than in the past year. So what we've done is, this is our first week, we started a character education program. We pick a theme of the week. So this week it is work ethic. When a teacher recognizes the student meeting the theme of the week, the teacher gives that student what we call a tiger ticket. Now, a tiger ticket is a coupon. At the end of the week, the student can hand their tiger ticket into the office, and then on Monday morning, we'll have a raffle. The PTA was generous, they gave us some gift cards. So on Monday morning, we will draw the student who won the raffle for the week. But we thought that would be a great way to increase character education, responsibility, etc. Again, our theme for this week is work ethic. The second topic I wanted to talk about was our AIS math support. We are super appreciative of it. Our AIS math support, she actually pushes in with other teachers. Now, sometimes it can be difficult for a veteran teacher to have a new teacher push into their classroom. But in fact, it has gone really well. I would like to read you a brief email I received today from one of our math teachers. She says, "Joe, I could not be happier with Amanda in the role. She's doing an amazing job helping students that really need it, and she's making great connections with them. I hope we continue to support her position. I would highly recommend next school year doing what we did this year and identifying those neediest students and putting them in my class with her as support. I think with all the quarantine kids and kids missing school, we will need this type of course again. Thank you for your support." So again, that AISMAT's position has been valued, and we would like to thank you for your support. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
Good evening. We don't have a gift, sorry. So usually we do. Okay. We would like to play you a short video that we made at the elementary school for the school. We certainly know that many times this is a thankless position, and the sacrifice that you guys have given is truly and greatly appreciated by all of us. We're going to divide our presentation up into 3 small parts. The first one is Caroline's going to share some highlights from early in the school year. Then I'm going to talk about some of our focus points and our timeline that we've had recently, and then we're going to talk a little bit about moving forward at the end. So I'm going to turn it over to Caroline for the highlights.
Hi, everybody. Our biggest highlight, and I think this goes for all parents, all teachers, all staff members, certainly all of you, is having everybody back 5 days a week. We'll never, ever take that for granted again. And we just are so grateful to have our building full and our hallways full and be able to see all the kids coming in at once, running into their classrooms. It's our favorite part of our day. So that's our biggest highlight at the start of the year. Our next biggest highlight is Every Child Matters Day, specifically in the elementary on September 30th. We had students come from the high school and read the Orange Shirt Day story to every elementary classroom. And we just found that that was one of the most moving days that we've had truly in our elementary building in a very long time. Our students were extremely humbled, and we were humbled, I should say, where our students learned a ton that day and asked really great questions ranging from kindergarten through 5th grade. So it was an awesome opportunity to utilize our high school students and recognize that day. And then as Steve alluded to before, just some normalcy happening in our building. We have intramural sports starting again. Our music programs are back to full capacity, performing, singing together. We've been able to have some of our assemblies. We started the year with our beginning of the year assemblies all together again. And we're very excited for our Halloween parade to be back on in a few weeks.
Thank you. We're also very thankful to the Board of Education. We've expanded our academic intervention services this year. We've taken 2 teachers and they've converted over to become teacher leaders. Janine Detine in the ELA and Haley Pharmacy in math. And they have done an incredible job in helping us to meet some of the kids' needs early in the school year. We've had the addition of some teacher assistants, Alex Kostick in reading and math at the K2 area, and Kaylin Regan in grade 4 and 5 math, and Jessica Sina in kindergarten reading and math. And this year, our goal for prioritizing student needs is really all about getting the students the help they need when they need it. We think that that is especially, it's vital every year, but it's even more vital this year. The ability to fluidly move and help kids where they need it is just a vital part of what we're doing this year and what we've done early in the school year. A little bit of our timeline. It really started for us back this summer when we had the idea of doing a Tiger Cub camp this past summer. We had over 140 students attend that program. Our attendance rate at that program was roughly 95%, which is on par with what a normal school year attendance rate would be, which was incredible to us because normally in summer school it's a little bit less than that. And the students worked really hard. It was just a great segue into the school year for those students that were most needed. And then in September, we assessed all students in reading and math. Students were grouped into intervention services in both math and reading at that time. We began intervention services the second week of school, which is much earlier than we normally do, but it was a huge task by our AIS personnel to get that up and going that quickly. And here's a really important thing. We're servicing more than 200 students in reading and math currently. That is an incredibly high number, so the value of having that added staff is paid off. October, we began monthly grade level meetings with each grade level. It's an opportunity for us to talk about every single student at each grade level. Ironically, today, we had our first tiering meetings where we go through every student at every grade level and we talk about what their needs are. Moving forward, Caroline's going to share a few things.
So moving forward, we found the benefit of the grade level meetings to talk about every single child. With the hiring of the new staff, we've been able to expand the amount of kids that we service, but keep those groups really small, which research says that the smaller the group, the more likely they are to learn. So we're very excited about that. We're going to continue our grade level meetings and assessing our students. And we would like to invite our AIS leaders to come and present at a board meeting with all of you so you can learn more about the extensive program that they've really built from the ground up and see how we're meeting more students' needs this year.
And once again, thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, each of you, for providing an update on what's going on in school and our heartfelt appreciation. The next item on our agenda is hearing of individuals and delegations. This public comment session is for comments, not for question and answer. It is for members to share their concerns or thoughts with the board. When speaking, please be sure to approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, and if you're representing an organization, we ask that you identify that organization. We ask that you maintain a respectful demeanor and tone with your comments. Please direct all comments to the board members and not other members in the audience. We are allowing each individual that has submitted a pink card to speak once and ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes out of respect for others in attendance this evening. We also ask that you not identify individual staff members or students by name for critical comment. Please direct these matters to the superintendent outside of this meeting during school business hours. In the interest of civility and respect for different points of view, please do not applaud or boo speakers. The board will listen to all public comment, but it should not be expected that the board will respond. The superintendent may respond, or we will request individuals submit questions in writing so that we can get back to you at a later time. We have several big cards this evening. The first person is Jennifer Myers, who'd like to speak on the Dignity Act.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Myers. My husband and I live at 206 East Ave. We have 4 children attending American Central School. Currently 2 are in elementary, 1 in middle, and 1 in high school. My husband and I are also alumni at Akron We have been proud and have felt safe and comfortable having our children part of our schools. Recent events, I'm sorry, this wasn't made the last meeting, so this started about the week of September 22nd. Recent events have made us question the safe and secure environment we have felt in Akron. The first event is the policy and procedures the school has implemented for quarantining of students and staff. We feel that the staff vaccination should not dictate the way that they are treated. It should be the same across the board. Children should not feel the mental stress or feel segregated due to separate rules or regulations. We urge you as our board to fix this. The second event happened in my child's 9th grade class. A teacher took it amongst himself to give a speech of his feelings and opinions why our children should be vaccinated, or in his words towards my child how she felt, an aggressive rant telling her and others in the class why they needed to be vaccinated. In my opinion, this is very unprofessional and abuse of power and not on a teacher's place to discuss their child. Both of these events violated New York State Dignity for All Students Act. I ask the board to please allow me to read from the school's website. It states, New York State's Dignity for All Students. The Dignity Act seeks to provide the state public elementary and secondary schools students with a safe and supportive environment free from discrimination, intimidation, taunting, harassment, bullying on school property, or school bus, or any school function. The Dignity Act was signed into law on September 13th, 2010, and it took effect July 1st, 2012. The legislation amended state education law by creating a new Article 2, Dignity for All Students. The Dignity Act also amended Section 801A of New York State Education Law regarding instruction in civility, citizenship, and character education by expanding the concepts of tolerance, respect for others, and dignity to include an awareness and sensitivity in the relations of people, including but not limited to different races, weights, national origins, ethnic groups, religions, religious practices, mental or physical abilities, sexual orientations, gender identity, and sex. The Dignity Act further amended Section 2801 of the Education Law by requiring the boards of education to include language addressing the Dignity Act in their codes of conduct. Additionally, under the Dignity Act, students will be responsible for collecting and reporting data regarding material incidents of discrimination occurring. That is on the website. Important words pointed out in this act that have been present in both of the events I have discussed are discrimination, the unjust treatment of different categories of people or things, intimidation, to make timid or feel fearful, harassment, aggressive pressure or determination, taunting, to provoke or challenge someone with insulting or others. We honestly believe bullying is not for being from other students or teachers, and we far from being sorry, other students or teachers. We again urge you as our school board and our superintendent to please help us.
Thank you for bringing your concerns to us. Our next speaker, Greg Stone, COVID dashboard.
Hello, my name is Greg Stone. I live at 4 Flint Avenue. I would like to start by thanking the board for your time and efforts, especially over the last year and a half as well. It's been probably tough to say the least. I'm thankful for the COVID dashboard. I'm not sure who updates that, but it seems to be updated pretty much daily, which is helpful. I think there's room to be a little more transparent on the dashboard by including some data that's often included in dashboards, in particular, the percentage of positive cases that are fully vaccinated. I think if the school's gonna follow a policy that, treats an unvaccinated student differently than a vaccinated student with respect to quarantine, being transparent about the data that supports that policy would be helpful for us to accept that, I guess, as a community. Likewise, if the data shows that maybe there's a significant percentage of positive cases that are vaccinated, maybe it would create an environment where the school could critically think about the policy. I realize it's handed down by Erie County and New York State, but if our data shows that, a significant percentage are fully vaccinated, that would be data to use as educators to push back perhaps on the Department of Health. And say, if we're tracking like Erie County data that was presented in the Buffalo News 2 weeks ago, 40% of cases are in fully vaccinated people. So I don't think that type of percentage would justify a policy that treats a vaccinated person different than an unvaccinated person. Hearing Jennifer speak about the bullying, I think if there were data that showed that this is not a problem of unvaccinated students or faculty, maybe that would help alleviate some of what she's reporting. Okay, in other words, students would be educated that, well, in our district, X number of people were vaccinated and still got it. So we shouldn't discriminate against somebody who's unvaccinated. Okay, so presenting that information through a dashboard is not unprecedented. I work for Kaleida Health and we get weekly dashboards that break the hospitalizations down by vaccination status. So it's data that is usually presented in dashboards. And I think the school could take a leadership role here and include that in their dashboard. So I ask that you guys consider doing that moving forward.
Thank you for bringing that to us. Nathan Witkowski, master mandate.
How's everybody doing tonight? Happy Board Appreciation Day. Couple of things. I was going to talk about some completely different things, but last couple of times I came up and talked to you guys, I noticed it almost feels adversarial. Like I see a lot of people sitting, not looking up, not making eye contact. It's funny, I've never made eye contact, even though I tried to, right? We're up here as parents talking to the board because we need your help. We want you to feel empowered that you have parents behind you, right? The parents that are here because we don't have any place else to go with some of this stuff, right? This vaccine mandate that I'm sure is coming is scary to a lot of parents. What is going to happen when they tell us that all students coming to the school have to be vaccinated? Not all students are going to be vaccinated. Students are going to not come in. If we're concerned about the education of children, you're telling some children they can't come to your school. It's a scary thing. What is going to happen with those children? Who is going to be teaching them? Right? My daughter is in here with Mr. Esposito and Ms. Cows every day. They're doing a great job. She's blossoming in the school, doing great. But what if she can't come to December or January or next year? What does her education then look like? I'm coming to you guys as the board to help us parents fight to keep our children in school, whether they're vaccinated or not. That's why I'm up here standing in front of you. I know you guys take your time out to be on this board, and we appreciate that. And that's nice tonight. But we should be working together, parents and board. It shouldn't be adversarial. It shouldn't be us coming up and trying to convince you of something. You should feel empowered because there's parents behind you going, let's wait for our kids. Parents want to be involved. Parents want their kids to come. There's something to think about, some food for thought going forward. But anything we can do to push back on the vaccine mandate, that's I'm sure coming. I think we should do. One, and I know it's not a question and answer, but maybe something to think about is I know we get these mandates. Right now, they're not laws. What happens if the school pushes back and says we're not going to follow? I'm sure there is funding of some sort. Well, what are the ramifications of that? And we should stop and think about and look at and address that, hey, if we don't follow this, we're not going to get this funding, which means we're not going to be able to fund these activities. That's something the school wants to do. We should look at all the alternatives. The parents should know what those alternatives are. And you guys should know we're here fighting for our kids, and hopefully you guys got that. Right? Doesn't always feel like that. Hopefully that's what.
Thank you. Next, Heather Stone on Girls School Association.
Hello, all. Thank you all for your help as our Board of Ed representatives. Interesting that I followed the gentleman there. I'm going to read something to you that I received from a friend from the Pembroke district. So I'm reading this. I did not write this, not plagiarizing. I believe this came from the superintendent in Pembroke. Pembroke parents attended the first Board of Ed meeting in September and encouraged the board to file a lawsuit against the state. In lieu of filing such a lawsuit and trusting that Governor Hochul means what she says when she says she's willing to listen, the board directed the superintendent to contact the Rural School Association to identify other rural school districts with similar concerns and ask for assistance in appealing the powers that be in a more positive way than a lawsuit. The RSA put out an alert to identify if other rural school districts would be interested in jointly advocating for our local autonomy. There were 25 rural school districts that would be interested in jointly advocating for our local autonomy. And they responded to this alert. While we embrace the diversity of thinking that exists, and we do not assume that all rural districts perceive things the same way that we do, on behalf of the Board of Education, the superintendent reached out to those 25 superintendents to complete a short survey to identify if they were interested in a meeting with someone from the governor's office to share concerns and to advocate for local autonomy. Our local legislators, Senator Ed Rath and Assemblyman Steve Hawley, stand ready to assist in arranging such a meeting. So this is the part that I wrote. Akron is listed as a member of the RSA. So I wonder if we responded to that survey, and are we joining those 25 superintendents in schools and advocating for local autonomy? Because I realize, and I believe we all realize, or I hope we do, as members of this community, realize that these policies are handed down from the county and the state, and the schools, you know, our hands are tied. We're fearful. We're fearful to lose funding. But I really do have to believe that if there were a substantial coalition of like-minded schools who joined together with data-driven requests, that maybe some changes would result in autonomy for our schools. And maybe we could maybe prevent some of the depression that you're hearing about, because I'm sure that some of these rules aren't really helpful for the mental status of some of the staff or the children that are here. Anyway, so I'm just standing here to, you know, I know this isn't question and answering, but I'd be curious to see if we're involved, and if we're not, why aren't we? And why can't we band together? And maybe we can make that 25 more. Why don't we be brave and reach out and see if we can't get people to push back? Because if we don't push back, we lose our freedoms. We're never getting them back, and that's what this is about. So thanks for listening.
Thank you. Christina Weidman, vaccine mandate petition.
Good evening. My name is Christina Weidman. I live at 44 East Avenue, and I first want to thank Superintendent McCabe, President Grant, and the Akron School Board for allowing myself and other parents to come up here week after week and voice our concerns. I personally feel that you are listening and that you truly care for our children, and I appreciate the respect that you have always shown me. It is greatly appreciated. Tonight, I am here for a very specific reason: to read my speech from the night we went virtual and to present you with a petition which states, quote, On September 9th, 2021, Los Angeles Public Schools passed a mandate requiring all children ages 12 and up to be vaccinated in order to attend public school. The Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine has been authorized on an emergency use basis for people ages 12 to 15. There is only FDA approval for ages 16 and up. Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz and Senator Brad Hoylman have introduced a bill that would give the option to require mandatory COVID-19 vaccines for all children in New York State ages 2 and up in order to attend public school. Senate Bill S-7320, which relates to the definition of administration with respect to immunization to prevent COVID-19 for children between the ages of 2 and 18 years of age. This is a petition started strongly urging Superintendent McCabe and the Akron School Board to please write a letter to the state in opposition of COVID-19 vaccine mandate. Where there is risk, there must be choice. Parents should have the option of whether or not they choose for their children to receive this vaccine. It is imperative that we take immediate action and steps to battle this upcoming mandate. If this vaccine mandate is passed in New York State, many families in the Akron School District will strongly consider or will be pulling their children out of Akron schools, unquote. I started this petition, and a week and a half later, things became a lot more serious. On Monday, September 19th, 2021, Pfizer-BioNTech released a statement saying its COVID-19 vaccine is safe and effective for children ages 5 to 11, and that the companies will submit their data to the FDA for emergency use authorization. It is only a matter of time before they will mandate it for all ages. I have multiple comments on my petition, but a few that I feel that are important that you hear tonight. Quote, I don't believe this should be a forced vaccine. I worked the front lines and am now having to choose my job over this vaccine. So after over 13 years of caring for my residents, I will have to be fired from my job. And if this vaccine becomes the case, I will be pulling my 5 children from your district, unquote. Quote, this is and should be my choice and my husband's choice. They are our children, not the government's. Please stand up for our children and help protect them from the government, unquote. Quote, this vaccine is new and long-term side effects are unknown. We should not risk the health of a whole generation of young Americans. Parents should be able to decide whether or not to vaccinate their children. It should not be mandatory, unquote. Quote, a government mandate to inject a rushed vaccine into a child against the wishes of a parent is a gross misuse of power and only succeeds in fueling contempt and disgust toward our elected officials, unquote. As of a month ago, I had 300 signatures from parents whose children attend Akron Central Schools and are fighting this upcoming mandate. If each parent who signed it has 2 children and removes them from public schooling, Akron will lose 600 children. That is almost half the students who attend here. If you lose that many children, you will not need the amount of teachers and staff that you currently have, and you will have to let people go. Many people will lose their jobs. There are many parents here tonight for all sorts of reasons. You may be a parent here tonight because you are angry, frustrated, aggravated, and don't know how else to fight for your children. You may be a parent here tonight who feels that things just aren't adding up and you need answers. You may be a parent here tonight because your child is being bullied and harassed by teachers for not being vaccinated. And we saw Jennifer's story. This is happening under Akron, under the superintendent and the school board's watch. Apparently the zero tolerance bullying policy in the Dignity Act only applies to students. This is absolutely unacceptable, and there needs to be immediate and swift consequences for anyone who treats our children in this manner. You may be a parent here tonight because you support freedom. You signed the petition to stop a vaccine mandate for our children at school because you feel that your child's health is your responsibility and not the decision should be made by your child's doctor, not by a politician. You are genuinely concerned about their health and safety and well-being. If any of this applies to you, will you please stand with me? We as parents realize that your hands are tied by the state in many ways, and that you have rules that you swore to adhere to. But what happens when those rules are doing more harm to our children than good? Things are progressing very quickly, and we as parents feel like we are losing control. We have called, written to, and emailed our local legislators and feel that we aren't getting anywhere. We need you to support us and show us that you truly care and are fighting for us
and our children. Please don't let us be backed into a corner where we feel that we have to choose between our children's health and their education. These vaccines have not been subject to normal vaccine trials and approval time, and they cannot be reversed. Please take the steps to show us that you stand with us. Thank you.
Chair Polkowski.
Evening. I just also want to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules. You all have careers and you chose to be school board members, and I do thank you for that, because I know it's not like the other parents said, it's a thankless job, I'm sure. My name is Erin Polkowski, and I live at 6778 Cedar Street. Recently, Pembroke Superintendent sent out a survey, and their school board as well, sent out a survey to staff and families. It covered remote learning, masks, social distancing, and the COVID shot. It was an excellent survey, and it was very detailed. A friend of mine is in the school district and was able to give me all the results. I thought it was a great way to get to know their families and know what they think, and just how they feel about everything. I know that they're not the exact same district as us. I understand that. They're completely different. And I know that if Akron sent out the same survey, that it would probably not have the same results. However, I do think they are similar to us in size and location. It actually would be great to see Akron do a similar survey. But one thing I wanted to highlight is this question that they asked the parents. If the COVID shot was mandated to attend in-person school, would you homeschool? 52% said yes. That's half. If they lost half their students to homeschooling, what would that do to that district? Seems to me to be pretty devastating. Teachers and staff would have to be let go, maybe even close some buildings. I know that's not Akron, but I can't help but wonder what would happen if something similar here. How many students would you lose? 50, 100, half of our school would be about 650 students. What would be the number to get your attention? I have 3, and maybe you could care less if I pull my kids out. It's only 3. They're 3 smart, well-behaved, involved students. In fact, if you don't mind, I'm just going to read a quick email that my son, about my son. He had Mr. McCall last year for geometry. Amazing teacher. Can I just say he was awesome, and my son really liked him a lot. This was from June 15th. It was the last day of school. He said, "Good afternoon, Mrs. Polkowski. This school year has had its ups and downs for sure. There were tons of new norms that both students and teachers had to adapt to that were out of our control. But we have survived and reached our final day of in-class instruction. As the bell rang, signaling the end of the period, some students were in such a rush to reach freedom that they didn't even say goodbye. Some shared a farewell or wished me a good summer. Aiden, my son, was the outlier. Aiden remained behind after all the other students left, just to give me a heartfelt thank you. His thanks let me know that even in a chaotic year, my actions did not go unnoticed. My efforts were not just acknowledged, but appreciated. I'm truly grateful for his appreciation, because it shows me that no matter how crazy the year got, that no matter how many regulations I had to adapt to, and no matter how many times I had to change teaching strategies, I was able to have a positive impact on at least one student. Students like your son helped motivate me to give my best each and every day. So now I must express my thanks to you and your husband for raising a thoughtful and respectful young man like him. He is a class act. I hope you have a wonderful summer, Mr. McCall." My 11th grade, he's in 11th grade now. He's excelling at Harkness in the computer technology program. He's a trumpet player for the Akron Music Band. He's been the MVP of the swim team for the last 2 years. Gone. That cello player over there, that's my son. That's Landon. He's a key member of the orchestra. He's a high honor roll student. He's in the advanced classes. Gone. My youngest son, 6th grade. He's a baritone player in the band. He's an honor roll student in advanced classes. Gone. You've probably heard the 80-20 rule. 80% of the work is done by 20%. Although in my experience, it seems more like 90-10, but I'm one of the 20%. I volunteered with the PTA when my kids were in the elementary school. I coach youth basketball here at the school. I volunteer with Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. And I'm currently the treasurer of the Akron Music Parents Association. And since I wouldn't have any children left in the school if the shot is mandated, I'm gone. But I know we're just one family. But I know we're not alone. There are many other families that feel the same way, and that they will homeschool before giving their child an experimental shot. And to me, that's good news, because I know I'm not alone, and we're already making plans to homeschool together to support one another. But my family loves Akron School District. My kids have gotten an excellent education here. We don't want to pull our kids, but unfortunately, New York State is forcing our hand. I choose to serve in our community and school district because I want a better place for our family. And I can only assume that each one of you feel the same way. Now we need to choose to protect all of our students against the politicians in Albany who don't know any of our students. And just like that other father was talking about, that you should feel empowered that all our parents are here and they want to keep the kids in school. If you can't act on our behalf, my husband and I will choose to do what is best for our family, even if that means without you. Thank you for listening.
I'd like to thank everyone for speaking this evening. Your voices and concerns are heard. I'd like to share, share for Mr. McKay, Mr. Polkowski, myself, and two parents with legislator Green recently shared our concerns. We also reminded legislator Green that as a body, the school district and the school board does not set public health policy. We ask you to please go to your legislators, your local legislators, your state legislators. You will hear shortly about Mr. Polkowski's advocacy efforts. We appreciate you coming to the board to speak and share your concerns, what your actions need to go to your legislators. Item number 4, the superintendent's report.
So, let me begin by just echoing Mr. Grant's sentiment to our parents for thoughtful participation. I will be reaching out to those folks that I'll also get in contact with Superintendent Calderon regarding some of the district came up a couple of times. I've spoken to Superintendent Calderon in the past. I haven't spoken to him this year. I just want to start by thanking our 8th grade string quartet, our middle school student government, and our elementary kids that put together the video. Ultimately, they are the reason why they and all the children like them are the reason why we do what we do at J. So, express my appreciation to the kids for everything they did on behalf of the board. I also want to acknowledge, express my appreciation to our building administrators. The brief update that you received this evening gives you just a window of view into their incredible leadership. They spent the entire summer planning, analyzing student need, planning for it, hiring staff, preparing our schools for return students in September. And I think you can tell from their presentations that they are completely focused on, committed to raising the standards, the achievement. They're not allowing the challenges of COVID to be an excuse, but instead they're responding to those challenges, looking for ways to elevate student learning and student well-being. And I think you've heard that over and over about preparing and educating the whole child. So I just want to thank our building administrators for the update, but more than the update, for the incredible amount of work they've done for many months. Finally, one final bits of recognition. I just want to extend my own appreciation to the school. The challenges that you have faced throughout this pandemic have been many and very, you have consistently borne that responsibility of ensuring that our students get a high quality educational program, and that we're committed to analyzing our own practices, evaluating them, monitoring them, adjusting them. In no way, shape, or form is the Board of Education been stagnant in their approach and response to our community. So my heartfelt thanks to all of you. You've made difficult decisions, but you haven't done them with any hesitancy. Based on that on. So we take this week in October to acknowledge you, and it's not a one and done. Your contributions are year round, and I want you to know our appreciation for you is also year round. Having said that, I do have a special recognition from the Erie County Association of School Boards. So for outstanding participation in ECASB programs and promotion foundation for effective boardmanship, the Erie County Association of School Board awards Eric Polkowski for the 2021 Rising Star Recognition for commitment to service, leadership, and learning. Congratulations. This evening, I want to give the board just really essentially an introduction, if you will, to the process of district strategic planning that we are about to embark on. The district intends to collaborate with Erie One BOCES in the creation of a 5-year strategic plan. And a strategic plan, and this strategic plan in particular, has to create a roadmap that can lead to success. We will utilize stakeholders from across the district to create a common definition of what success looks like using evidence-based practice to achieve our aspirations. It will be incredibly important and incumbent upon all members of our educational community to participate in the development of this plan and the process of implementation and monitoring. So we will be looking for parents, we will be looking for administrators, we will be looking for teachers, and obviously Board of Education members, as well as students. We'll utilize technologies and software that we're familiar with beyond our traditional Google surveys, with some more interactive software to solicit input. We'll also be using a diagnostic tool that Erie One BOCES has used. They've led this work with other districts. It's a tool for school district effectiveness, and it will help guide conversation. There's 6 main areas. They are district leadership, capacity, school leadership, curriculum, teacher practice, student health, and community involvement. Typically, it's been described to us that those 6 major tenets are often focused on 3 essential skills, which are leadership, classroom instruction, and school discipline. So we are on the cusp of embarking. We've had some initial planning meetings with Erie One BOCES. What the board will receive on December 1st is a full presentation from myself, Erie One BOCES, and Mrs. Thurston about our process for engaging in the development of the strategic plan. I've shared with the board in the past, one of the intents is to merge the district strategic plan with the fiscal plan so that they are supporting and complementing one another. And that's the need that we have. We've always had a long-range fiscal plan. It hasn't always been implemented. Certainly complementary board, not completely implemented with strategic plan. So that's one of the other goals that we have. So December 1st, you'll receive an update, not really an update, information. Just a brief update on COVID. One of the community members spoke regarding our dashboard. We are required to report your state dashboard. Our local dashboard is not a requirement. It's something that we chose to do to increase transparency, to give updates on the number of positive cases that we're encountering. I'm pleased to report that over the past 4 weeks, consecutively with 27 positive cases, 28 positive cases, a week of 9, and this last week was 7. So that is encouraging, certainly. The other thing that I had the opportunity to see, and I know you get the robocalls, the informational letter I sent out to the community for those families or employees that are interested in screening or proximal testing, that has been up and running since October 4th. I will tell the board that our participation is not particularly high. That may just be choice, or it may be an awareness level. Not knowing which, I chose to send that information out again this week, so folks that might be interested in do that. One bit of additional positive news is that Erie County Department of Health has informed school districts that they have a supply of rapid COVID-19 diagnostic testing. So one of the challenges that we've seen is that with individuals, employees, or even students start to become symptomatic, it can be challenging for them to find, schedule an appointment, and to wait a long time to get the results. Sometimes, obviously the result is positive, but sometimes it's negative, and it's keeping them away from work or from school. With the county coming up with these diagnostic tests that are the NAT tests, nucleic acid tests, they're limited only to school employees and students that are symptomatic, so they're set aside, and the results are in 15 minutes. So when families call and their child's symptomatic, our nurse is giving them the number for the county. Again, full transparency, the county didn't think that they had a limitless supply. They anticipated the supply being 3 months. We're hoping that the county and the state will resupply so that those diagnostic tests can be filled. It's certainly been suggested to me, other superintendents who would welcome it, if diagnostic tests are available in the school, as well as this notion that I think we would all support the test and stay model as other cases. I don't have any update on that. The last I heard it was discussed by the University Department of Health. That's just what I asked. Questions on that? In regard to our first capital project, minutes are just an update. See campus, see that the checklists are very, very small, and we anticipate that all aspects of this current project will be completed by the end of this month. And I will be asking representatives from Clark Patterson, our architect, as well as campus to attend the representative board meeting. You will recall that also at that meeting, we will be getting a fiscal update from our presidential advisor, Mrs. Better, on any possible future capital projects. So that will be an opportunity to go present about this project, future projects, as well as understanding fiscally. We're looking at the implement project that'll all be have the board of the just a final word of appreciation. I really do want to thank Mr. John, File, for all of our class advisors, our student government leaders, who were here tonight, our technology department. They have done an incredible amount of work prepared for this homecoming this week. And it has gone off thus far on Wednesday. Our game and all. And it's gone off seamlessly. Again, just like the building principals reported earlier, that doesn't happen by luck or accident. A lot of work goes into that. I just wanted to express my appreciation. Powder Puff game today was a lot of fun. The boys could really dance on that out in the halftime show. Really looking forward to the parade, the Friday, and our varsity football game, they know who the opponent is. So I'm excited about that game. And, the homecoming codex, perhaps new tradition of the Mr. Dimitrov just spoke of on Saturday. So again, great stuff. And kind of a much needed celebration for our school.
Thank you. Questions on Mr. Green's presentation from the board? Item 5, minutes. Our recommended actions at the Akron Central School Board of Education hereby accept the meeting minutes for September 22nd and October 6th, 2021. Consent items 5A and 5B. Moved, Ms. Forstell. Second, Mrs. K. Any questions or comments on those minutes? Those of you in attendance, the board votes electronically using board docs. That's why there's the pause. Item 6, personnel instructional, recommended actions of the Akron Central School Board of Education upon the recommendation of Patrick and the Superintendent of Schools is hereby approved the instructional items consent 6A, 6C. Mr. Polkowski. Second, Mr. Kenway. Questions or comments? Item 7, personnel non-instructional. Our recommended actions of the Akron Central School Board of Education upon the recommendation of Akron Page Schools is hereby approved the non-instructional items consent 7A to 7J. Move, Mrs. Kane. Second, Ms. Forstell. Questions and comments? Item 8, recommended action, district items. I recommended action that the Akron Central School Board of Education, upon the recommendation of Patrick Page, Superintendent of Schools, is hereby approved district items consent 8A to 8D. Move, Mr. Massey. Second by Mr. Penway. Questions and comments? Item 9, special education. Our recommended actions at the Akron Central School Board of Education upon the recommendation of Patrick Page, Superintendent of Schools, is hereby approved the special education items consent 9A to 9B. Move, Mrs. Kay. Second, Mr. Kenway. Questions or comments? Item 10, financial reports. We have in the packets the financial reports for July, August, and September 2021. Our recommended actions that the Akron Central School Board of Education approve the financial reports for July, August, and September 2021 as submitted by District Treasurer Susan Brewer. Move, Mrs. Gray. Second, Mr. Massey. Questions or comments? Item 11, school board correspondence tomorrow, Thursday, October 21st, the BCASB legislative team meeting in Erie, from 6:30 to 8:30. Monday, October 25th is the municipal virtual convention. KA is registered. Thursday, November 4th, BCASB Albany update with Dave Little, 31 BOCs from 6:30 to 8:30. Am I registered, Mr. President? Thank you. Saturday, November 13th is the legislative breakfast, 31 BOCs, 8:30 to 11:30. Mr. McKay, Mr. Polkowski are already registered, I believe, on the waiting list. Upcoming dates, Friday, October 22nd, the Wall of Fame and homecoming at 6 o'clock. Tuesday, October 26th, is the food shop clinic in Gym 3 from 3 to 6. That event open to the public, correct? Friday, October 29th, elementary Halloween parade from 1 to 2. Always a great event. Wednesday, November 3rd is our next Board of Education meeting here in the cafeteria at 7 o'clock. Item 13, hearing of individuals and delegations for non-agenda items. Public input. Board discussion. Anything we haven't covered that you'd like to bring up this evening?
Been shared with tomorrow's legislative, the legislative committee. We're in charge of working with members of CASB, which is 28 member districts and 2 BOCs, Area 1 and Area 2. Part of what we were initially starting off with was trying to come up with categories, both short-term and long-term, for advocacy policy. What are the topics in which we want to advocate for? We came up with at our last meeting, came up with a brainstorming session, basically asking all the member districts to do their homework, come with 2 long-term and 2 short-term topics, which we then weaseled down into a shorter list. That has been extended out to all of the member districts to basically rank on a scale of 1 to 5, finding out which are more pertinent and which are not. It'll essentially get us down to 3 categories in which we will advocate to our local legislators on behalf of our districts and our member districts, all 28. Just as a point of reference, because I know the topic has come up, 3 of those such questions that are at the top of the short term do include, actually 4 of them include COVID, in regards to masking, support of possible mass exodus of students and faculty, testing, and other things associated with like free breakfast and lunch program and commitment to fully funding state education. Those things in mind. I have been in contact with all 4 of our representatives. Assemblyman Hawley is unavailable for the legislative breakfast. Assemblyman Norris has responded, said he will not be able to attend. However, he has extended several dates to our board to meet with at a later date throughout the month of November, so we will go for that. Senator Orth has not responded either way, so I would be following up with him. And Senator Rath has responded that he will be at the legislative breakfast. I did send a thank him for his attendance, that he will be attending, and look forward to speaking to him at that point. So it is something that we're going through and doing. One other topic I was going to bring up is at the time they had a speed boarding session last Thursday. Speed boarding is basically they take 4 topics in 30 minutes and train it down your throat so you have an understanding of what's going on, and just to give you some pointers as to what is happening. With that being said, one of them was a presentation by CNS companies. They are similar to campus infrastructure schools. They also were talking about mentorship programs and internships and other opportunities in which schools should reach out to them to help coordinate tech, science, and their own district. The second one was Niagara Frontier Independent Education Council, or NIFIC, which is associated with basically trying to work with students to find jobs, trying to prepare students to find jobs. They are conducting a job fair, I believe, in the upcoming weeks over at Long Gallery schools, trades, colleges, and associations to try and work these out. Amongst them. Third one was a gentleman who is the curator of the Williamsville North Planetarium, and it's a very interesting topic because he was indicating that April 8th, 2024, Buffalo will be directly in line for a full eclipse. He indicated that one of the topics with it was the fact that it's a great opportunity to try and use science and possibly your buildings to host an event, but also trying to give you some of the other caveats. The full eclipse will happen at approximately 3:15 on that day. It was a Monday immediately following spring break, and they said it might be in the best interest of most school districts to have no kids on the road and to have the kids out of school. They indicated one such event was a town in the last one in 2017, a town in Montana with a population of 8,000 saw a tourist increase of 200,000 at the time of total eclipse. So they're anticipating that that sort of might happen in the Buffalo area. So in the guise of safety, was trying to both use it as a educational tool and also as a preparation that it's 2 months away. The science says when it's going to happen, what's going to happen, be prepared. So they're trying to work collectively to do that. And the final person that was there at skimboarding was the director of Section 6, which is Mark DiFilippo, gave a presentation just to break down how the section is made up, some of the concerns and questions that are going on. The two big concerns that they have is in regards to referees and coaches. It said that one of the concerns is some of the attitudes that those both see and the ability to retain and to train both said individuals that have them participate for all school districts. So it's similar to bus drivers and other people that we've had within their district. And just the final plug was for homecoming. The senior class is sponsoring the Pink Cow to come out for the homecoming pull down. So the Pink Cow will be here for the students to celebrate, but also in between the parade from basically from 4 to 7, we'll also have Pink Cow will be there on Friday before the football game or after the parade, possibly if weather's permitting, if it's not too cold. But then the other two is we have Dad's Barbecue will be there with their food truck, and the other food truck is Dirty Chicken, which does chicken and waffles and fries and things like that. So just an opportunity. It's in support of the senior class and another thing to try and encourage activities for them.
Thank you, Ms. Balkowski. We really do appreciate your advocacy, efforts, and leadership. Along those lines, in preparation for the legislative breakfast, DCASB sent out a survey to all school board presidents and members of legislative teams to help set priorities for discussion. At that event, I will share this with each of the board members electronically, ask you to rank those comments. It's 8 pages. Have to compile and send it off. So we're ready to get started. Item 13, executive session. We do have a need to go to executive session this evening. Discuss the employment history of a particular person. Move, Mr. Kenline. Second, Ms. Forstell. Questions or comments? Session at 8:24. We did not intend to conduct business. We conclude. Thank you for everyone for attending this evening. The students that are here that need sign offs for participation in government, any of us can sign off.